Hi, everyone. Uh, we have with us my friend Erika Merz, from the founder of Rise Up with Heart. And well, actually, I will say a little bit about Erika's work. Erika brings dance and art to spiritually based dance and art to the field of social justice work. And um, Erika, welcome, and tell us more about what that is and what else people should know about you and what you do.
Thanks so much, Alice. I'm really happy to be here and love our friendship and the ways that we are so passionate about these movements for collective liberation and ending fascism and colonization and racism and all the isms. And yeah, I come from many, many years of radical grassroots organizing in the streets, and over time started to really feel the call towards bringing in the wisdom of spiritual energy
Mm,
that I believe in deeply. Many people understand science is also talking about. Science is slowly proving what Indigenous people around the world have known and told us forever, that everything is energy, and that there's a sense of the divine, and we are all part of it. We have energy flowing through and with us and around us in our energy fields. And for me, my passion is bringing the power of this infinite source energy to our movements for radical change in the world and for our own healing. And I know that personal nervous system regulation is also an important part of the summit you're hosting. So, yeah, really excited to share some tools and concepts, again, that are ancient knowledge that have been actively suppressed
mm,
intentionally because systemic oppression and these dominating systems and people behind the systems know that spiritual energy, that wisdom, and our ability to connect with the divine, connect with the earth and the healing medicines that are everywhere, that's where our power is. And
mm,
so if you look at colonial movements throughout time all over the world, they're always attacking the culture and the spiritual wisdom because, yeah, that really allows us to be in our full power. And they don't want that, right? Because they want the power over us. So excited to
oh,
bring that to light for everyone here.
that is really beautiful, and it made me think of something very sad in the news, um, that the last university in Gaza was destroyed today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even destroying the modern culture, just destroying culture.
Yeah. The libraries, the spiritual texts, witch burnings, book burnings, making cultural practices and ritual illegal.
Illegal.
These are all tactics that colonial domination have used throughout time.
And
It's
can
about the
you,
reclaiming. So that's the word I use, is like reclaiming and
oh,
remembering, because also this wisdom is innate, it's universal, and it's innate in us. If you see ourselves as physical bodies who
mhm.
are holding the true energy of our spirit, of our soul. Yeah,
We
deep
already
stuff.
know. Well, it's like,
We know. I'll
yeah,
just name this one seed that people can reflect on, and I myself might want to reflect on later. It brings to question, for us in this westernized world who've been born into a very toxic culture that's been specifically crafted to limit us and suppress us and make us small and unhealthy,
mm,
right? From the food, like what's traditional American, USian food, right? It's food that makes you sick.
mm.
So like, what does it mean for us to bring change to our communities and our world from a place of a toxic culture, right? And then of course that brings up questions of cultural appropriation and how do we, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, the
co-create
trickiness
a
of,
yeah.
sure, let's go there. So,
Big questions. Oh, we don't have to go there. That could be a
but
whole.
it is a really interesting question, about, right, as white people. I mean, you and I are Jewish, which gives us some cultural tradition to draw from, but but
Or
kind of sort of, right? Yeah. And but there's this whole thing about, you know, white people, when we try to bring in richness of culture, because our culture has become a flat, homogenized culture. Like if we bring in cultural elements from colonized groups, then it's appropriation. But then if we go back and we're like, oh, I'm so proud to be Ukrainian, I don't know. I guess Ukrainian's a bad example right now, but you know, when people really celebrate their specific European roots, it can turn into a white supremacist thing. So
mm,
it's yeah, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that whole dilemma? Or I know you've found some ways to
yeah.
reconcile.
Well, what comes up for me around that, and I had some actually some really awesome conversations with some folks recently about this, is that most people of intact indigenous culture who know how important the wisdom they carry is for the world, they want to share that wisdom, you
Mhm.
know, because they know we need it. They know that our world, like we're on a fast track of self-destruction, and they know that we need this wisdom in order to steer, you know, this earth ship, you know, being, right, a live being, not a ship as in like an object, right, to a better way. And as I'm saying that, what comes up is, in truth, and in my opinion, when we look at all the cultures, indigenous intact cultures around the world, there's a lot of universal truths about the basic, you know, 101, how to live in harmony with the earth, how to live in the place of respect instead of taking in possession, you know, and it the culture becomes you know, intricately evolved in different places to connect with those people and to connect with that specific land. And, you know, but even the founding, or, you know, the origin myth, origin stories of many cultures also have a lot of similarities in them around the world.
Mm.
And maybe as a way to kind of bring this to the topic that I'm so passionate about involving dance and energy work and visualization practices and ceremony, you know, a lot of threads that are the same basic ideas all around the world. And for myself, you know, I can be an example of a way that we can tap in and reclaim some of these ideas without actually taking or stealing or reappropriating in harmful ways from other cultures, is these really sort of the universal core essence of these ideas.
Tell me, I know you've been doing some dance ceremonies for Gaza, you've been doing some art for Gaza. Tell us about like how, you know, how you draw together the three levels. And I know you've kind of said in the abstract, but like the spirituality, the art, and the advocacy. Um, and specifically on this issue that you know we've both been working on
Mm,
recently, and that it's so critical.
mm. Yeah, yeah. Well, first, I do want to acknowledge that everything I'm saying here today is to be, you know, is an invitation to put into action in addition to other actions, right? I know that it's a really important critique of sort of the love, light, energy work stuff, to say like that's not the only, you know, strategy we need to be using, right?
Yeah,
So, and especially for me, coming from being in the streets for many years, it was like we need to add this to our movements. So again, not to say we don't need to be in the streets or, you know, boycotting and other of these other practices. So um yeah, so you know, for me, and I know the intention of this series, this summit you're doing, is both about self-regulation in our nervous systems, which is so that we can show up to the work, right?
yes,
And it's also about, at least for me, my understanding was, it's also about how we can do this work in a way that can be, you know, more effective or amplify, you know, the movements
yeah.
for freedom. So yeah, essentially with this idea, understanding that everything is energy. And I'll give this example that folks are probably familiar with so you can really connect and feel the tangibility of the impact that this work can have.
Mm.
It's been highly studied, the power of mass meditations, when many people, or even a small group of people, come together and meditate with a shared intention, often using visualization as another tool within that. Measurable, tangible changes are seen,
So
right? So
beautiful.
this is really real. I say that to say that this is real, and again, in honor of Indigenous people, knowing that prayer is powerful, knowing that, energy work can, quote unquote, bring miraculous healings
Hmm.
to a community, to a person. We know that this is real and that this is powerful. So, and I can say I've experienced that many times in my own life, even just, one-on-one healings with people, or distant healings, friends, people who are sensitive to energy can feel the energy work I'm doing for them from far away, right? Um, so essentially, as these channels of energy that we are, and I will show some art in my Palestine painting shortly, as these channels of energy that we are, we can consciously relearn these tools and practices that will help us really tap into that flow of energy. And again, both use it to regulate our nervous systems, which we're going to do in the dance practice, as well as harness, cultivate that energy and send it out towards the change that we're wanting to see in the world. And for me, my excitement is, I don't know. Well, actually, I think there are some studies about how um, dance ceremony or collective dance prayer has shown changes in the world. So my excitement is that what is truly the power of mass global energy dance ceremonies, energy dance with a shared intention, right? If we had thousands and thousands and thousands of people around the world dancing, even whether it's at the same time or a different time, time and space don't actually exist in the way, or so all these spiritual traditions say that time and space don't actually exist in the way that we, as human bodies experience it.
Experience them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's just something I'm really excited about, is how we can use the power of energy, infinite source energy, to amplify energetically the work we're doing. And in my years in the streets, I I was at a lot of events where I sometimes didn't feel an energetic resonance with the work that we were doing, and a lot of times, and understandably so, it's because there's so much trauma and so much repressed rage and grief that we are not skilled, as modern people of this time, we're not skilled in how to cultivate that energy in a way that will vibrationally impact the change we want to make. For example, if there's some, sort of aggressive chanting energy in the streets, there's a feeling of this kind of energy, right? And that's not to say we don't want to like resist a power that's forcing people, right? We do need to do that in some way, but how can we do that in a way that can
Mm.
harmonize to create change?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
these
Mm.
are all
Wow, that was
inquiries,
really
but
beautiful demo. I was very active in the Occupy Wall Street movement, and I didn't go to any, or I went to very few of the marches because there was just seemed to be a lot of a vibe of bitterness, honestly, um, which was in such contrast with the like love and collaboration in the encampments. Um, but yes, we need force, but we need force that actually moves things rather than
yeah,
throwing
like there's
people
a
in opposite force.
polarization. There's a lot of activism movements, and this is not this is not to like blame activist movements, right? Again, this is super understandable that people are full of trauma and rage and grief. That's the situation, right? And that's why this work is also about healing ourselves, and the arts in all forms, right? From making music to dance to painting a painting, all these different ways are great outlets to move that energy, as is activism, right? So many people who are in such heavy places with feeling the pain of the world, and they want to contribute, and if they're not contributing, it's like you hurt even more, right? It's like
Hmm.
doing something to bring that change helps us also feel better and feel like balanced life humans, because there something's moving, right? We're not just sitting there feeling terrible and depressed and doomsday energy.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
ashamed and helpless and frustrated and all the things that
all
happen
the
when there's
things. Yeah,
action that is blocked, right? When there's an intention that's blocked. And right, like our intention's blocked by the world, right? We may not be able to get major politicians to change their actions if they're actively fighting against it. And when our intentions are
if we're
blocked by ourselves, it's even more frustrating, right? Like, oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, I can't. Oh, why bother? Um,
yeah, and like one example that comes to mind at Standing Rock, for example,
mm,
many of the indigenous elders who were leading a lot of, the actions at Standing Rock, would be guiding people to be talking, on the front lines, guiding people to be talking, to these really violent forces of the state, to be like, your children deserve clean water too,
mm,
like inviting people to change, making our movements for collective liberation clearly about everybody, and making it like so enticing to join, instead of saying you're evil, you're this, because then people have, this, the violent,
I have
bodies
to
of the
tell you,
state are
yeah,
gonna, they have every reason to hate activists, if they're being shut down. And I don't know, there's nuance to it, right? I also would never want to blame someone who's voicing their truth and voicing their rage, because
right.
that's real and that's fair.
And there's some kinds of power.
They are never going to change their mind.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know
there's
if
some,
that's what you're
right.
about to say, but
That's close to what I was going to say. There's some kinds of, yeah, there's some things that can only be changed by strong show of force.
strong show of force and economic incentive.
That's a good one.
I
That's a good,
mean, that's so
yeah.
true. I mean, so like, oh gosh, the stuff happening in the Red Sea with going after the shipments, that's is causing a huge, I mean, it's being used for further escalation, but ways that we can target the actual economic,
Oh, it's
because that's why the people in power are doing what they're doing. They want power and money and control. And if we take that
water
away,
and oil.
they it does impact. Yeah, right. And so, I talk a lot about unlearning systemic, unlearning racism, unlearning white supremacy, unlearning colonization that's in me, right? And in a lot of ways that's easy to understand, right? We live in this world where we're totally absorbing these values, these cultural, um, toxic beliefs, and they're in us, right? I do believe that doing that inner work of unlearning this toxic stuff within us, especially if we're thinking about another person who's in a position of power like Netanyahu, can actually take away some of his stuff. Anyway, okay. So let me share the slideshow and I'll go through it real quick, um, because pictures speak louder than words. So I'm an artist as well, and these images show that what we're talking about being these channels of energy, swirling that energy through the body, flowing out the hands and spirals up and down. So these are two digital paintings that I did. This is a toroidal field of energy that, yeah, it's just really powerful. And as I share this art, let them imprint into you that you can then use as a tool to embody for yourself, right? So as I tell people, put yourself in the painting, or, imprint the way that that energy is moving into yourself with your eyes closed, and tune into that, that way of moving. So here's another painting that shows a few more examples of ways that we can visualize that energy flowing through the body. And I thought I'd share this one as well. These are some snippets of that painting we just saw, overlaid with photos of me dancing. So you can kind of get a sense of how physical movements, how we can put ourselves in these movements and feel the energy flow while we're moving the body. Here's a few more paintings here that show, again, ways that we can visualize this column of energy moving through the body. And I'll guide this in the dance ceremony, where we're opening the crown and opening the channels of the feet and the hands, so that that energy is really flowing through. This is a painting called Holding the Earth in Prayer, right? So visualizing the earth, cultivating this vertical flowing channel of energy to really hold the entirety of the earth in that prayer. So, and then of course we have all our beings, guides who support us. We can use this visualization of a sphere of protection as well, because it is important to protect ourselves energetically. And generally this feeling of letting energy stream out your fingertips, right? Letting it flow into the body from infinite source, and then out the arms, through the hands, to beam out to the world. This painting is called A Prayer for Healing. Again, here's a few more visualizations, ways that we can tune in, let's say, to the feeling of our hearts, the energy of love opening like a flower and rippling out to all beings, feeling that connection of the people united, rising up with love. And this is another one too, just ways that you can feel that groundedness to the earth, because we need to work on that too, right? We've been very, systems of oppression have tried to fully disconnect us from the earth, from spirit, from our own bodies. We're essentially been taught to live up here in our tiny brains and just be worker bees for the machine. So this is where we're going, y'all. Being the sun of your divine light and emanating that out to the world, right? These ripples, this channel, all of it. So, this is my prayer for a thriving Palestine. Um, and these are poster prints that are available to download and share for this work, for the movement. It is painted with my moon blood. And there's a really, there's a video that I made. It's a time-lapse video with a spoken word poem that, it's a 90-second video on my Instagram and Facebook and such, that, yeah, really takes you on that journey of centering this vision of a collective, thriving, heart-centered liberation with the dove, not in a place of passivity, but in a place of protection and kind of that phoenix-like defending of the people, truly
I
holding
also see
a vision.
declaration.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, and part of this relates to energy work. We need to see images of the atrocities and the pain, right? We do need to know the horrors that are going on and see it, right? But we also need to see what we like from a standpoint of energy work. You want to focus the energy on the vision of change, right? We don't want to focus all our energy on the death and destruction that's happening, because that can just feed the energy of the death and destruction. So that's why I made this painting with that feeling of where we're going, right? To be that guiding beacon of a place of honoring the land, the freedom, the deep roots, the olive tree, and the heart that is guiding, that love that is guiding all. So let's do a 3-minute dance ceremony.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I facilitate dance ceremonies, and they are really powerful, cathartic opportunities to heal yourself, open your channels, reactivate the spiritual gifts within you. I'm just setting up the sound. And they really take you on a journey. So I had been hoping to share, there we go. I had been hoping to share a little more about what a energy dance ceremony is like, but this will give you a brief glimpse. And just to say that it's an opportunity to both go really deep into your traumas, right? And traumas are known now at this point in time, again, Indigenous people have known forever, that they live in the body, right? And they live as energy. And so when we do energy work and when we move the body, there is infinite possibility to release stuck trauma, have amazing healings. People in my dance ceremonies have opened up suppressed parts of their true selves that they've never experienced in this lifetime before. They've evolved in, catalyzed changes in their life have come through, and connections with ancestors, and new insight about the direction they want to go in their life, and incredible things happen in these spaces. So this is a very small glimpse, and I do have a free resources and full 2-hour dance ceremony experiences people can find as well. So I'm going to stand up, and I invite you to stand up if you can. You can also do this from sitting. You can do this from any weights. You don't even have to move very much. And we're going to play 3 minutes and do a deep dive short dance ceremony. And Alice, of course, just let me know if the sound, if you can't hear me and the music well, you can just let me know in the chat, but I think it should be good. So taking a deep breath. Tuning into the body and just feeling, imagining that energy flow through the body. So we're talking about this channel of energy that's flowing through. We can start by visualizing the energy in our body extending down into the earth, drawing that energy up, and extending it down into the earth, really opening that connection. The connection's always there. And again, this is about moving for yourself. This is not about looking cute, okay? And so to open that flowing channel, we're gonna also draw the energy up the spine, up the top of the head. Imagine your crown just opening and an antenna beaming up into infinite source. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and just visualize that energy tapping into that infinite source by whatever name. And then visualize that energy, welcoming that energy to flow down into the body, into the heart, and out your hands. Out your hands, because then that activates that energy to flow through, where then we can focus it on healing the body and also beaming it out to the world, to all those places that need healing, out to the Palestinian people. You can visualize energy streaming out of your hands, right? And I chose this song about being home, because we are always home within ourselves, and also offering that our love to the people suffering from so much violence, honoring them, honoring their home, and also that we are all, as spiritual beings, we are all always home in the infinite cosmos. Death is not the end. It in some ways is such a rebirth. So even just tuning into that energy around the body, knowing that we truly exist as beings far beyond the physical boundaries of our bodies. Oh, I know that was such a short one, but if people are interested, I really, this can help you with your own nervous system, right? Just getting in the body is an amazing tool to use for our nervous systems. Choose a song, choose a song that fits the energy you want to connect with, right? If you're feeling anxious, you want to choose a peaceful song like that. You know, if you're feeling sluggish and depressed, maybe you want to choose a song that's like rise up, you know. I had two dance ceremonies earlier this week, and I played this Rise Up song, and people were embodying that dove and just feeling that warrior spirit of defending human rights. And oh, yeah, it's really powerful. Visualization, intention, energy work, embodiment, the rhythm, the music, the vibrations, all of these pieces are really powerful tools, ancient tools that, you know, have been known forever to inspire powerful change for ourselves, for healing, for transforming the life we live around us. And again, as we talked about earlier, for creating that tangible change in the world too.
Amazing. Tell us, tell people about your free gift. Whoops, excuse my cat. She wants to dance.
Yes,
And
cats, animals feel energy. My free gift.
yeah,
This is a book that I wrote called Energy Dance: How to Channel Infinite Source Through Dance for Healing and Prayer. It has a lot of my art in it. It goes through a bunch of these different, it has my art to show, you know, what we were just talking about, and offers a lot of tips and tools for how you can use energy to, you know, there's all these lots of little snippets to give a pretty solid introduction to this practice of energy dance. You can download it as a free PDF and play with it with your dancing. So that's my free gift. And I have many other ways you can connect, including a lot of other free resources. So I won't go into all of them right now, but for people who are interested in exploring how to connect with these practices of energy dance, it does take practice, right? You know, we've been conditioned so long to not know these things and have these, you know, these gifts that live, these spiritual gifts that are innate in us have been in some ways kind of deactivated. So this work really reactivates that. The art is also activating. I consider it spiritually activating, and my art is also available for sale in many forms, from stickers to blankets and mugs and journals and greeting cards. But my two biggest excitements coming up right now is that I am literally just this week launching a 3-month program called Empowered and Purposeful Dance: How we can channel infinite source energy for healing and change. And that's going to be a 3-month online program with a lot of dance ceremonies and deep dive, info packed presentations that people can watch on their own time. And then we'll be kind of a coaching cohort group, a really powerful community where we're going to be exploring these practices, excuse me, of energy dance together to really build these skills, you know, one piece at a time, because it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of different aspects that we can do through the body, you know. And I've been doing this for some 10 years with also an extensive background in martial arts. So it's really powerful work. And, you know, let's dance in the streets. And yeah, reach out to me. I'll just say, you know, there's so much I could say and many ways you can connect with my work, but I'm a people person. I love to hear about you, who you are, what you're into. If dance or energy work is completely new to you, awesome. If you have a extensive background in dance or energy work or other spiritual or embodiment practices, awesome. This really kind of brings it all together and offers a lot of new concepts and tools as an integrated practice. Yeah, so
well,
so
thank you
excited.
for all of this. Really great to be together. Really great to do the ceremonies and be thinking about these things. And just glad to be in the fight together.
I had one more quick update, or a
Yes.
big exciting thing coming, which is in large part thanks to you, Alice, because we've both done summits before, And I have been hesitant to do another one just because it's a lot of work. And watching you just whip out these epic summits, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do another one. This is inspiring me. So I'm actually in the process right now of putting together another summit where I'm going to have speakers who are all talking about the different aspects of this work that I'm really passionate about. So definitely come get in the loop with me and my work and hear from more amazing um, experts out in the world too.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Erica. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
everybody. You're welcome. All right, stop
Blessings.
recording now.
Blessings to Palestine.
Blessings to Palestine.